Just wanted to let everyone know. So for today's agenda, we wanted to begin by having like an open discussion about the administrative portal. We are working on creating a different version of it that's going to be developed like by our team versus the software that we currently use. So we thought this was a great opportunity to talk to you all and see what other things you wanted to see, how it can be more useful to you. So I'm going to hand it off to Mick in a minute to lead that discussion. And then following that, I'll just go through some updates and deliverables and just some administrative information for you. So with that, like I was saying, we're working on updating and creating this new version of the administrative portal, which will, the one that we currently use, we've kind of built as we have gone and have added on features like as the need has presented itself, but it wasn't, you know, designed from the very start to have every single feature that we wanted to use it for, every single thing that we needed. So we thought it'd be a good opportunity to step back and create something now that we have that knowledge and background that will hopefully be more useful to you. It will create some efficiencies and reduce errors with the administrative portal as well. So with that, Mick, I'm going to hand it over to you to go ahead and talk through this. I wanted to open it up generally to input, and then we do have some specific questions.
Yeah, so hello everyone. It's nice to see everyone on the call, your names that I see often and the emails that I respond to often. So lovely to see all of you, at least virtually. Really, what I like to do when I lead these types of things is to just open the floor to what I call the magic wand question, which is, if you could wave your magic wand, what features and functions would you want in the administrative portal? What would you want to change about it? And then once we sort of get through all of those, then as Jackie said, we have some prompts for you of things that we've thought up that we think that you might like. But again, I like to start with the magic wand question because we don't want to necessarily lead you anywhere. We want to hear from you as our, what I call customers, to hear what you would like to see different, changed, or added to regarding the portal. So with that, anyone can unmute themselves. I don't think we need to do any hand raising unless it gets too crazy. So with that, I'll leave it to you to unmute yourself and put your idea out there. So Erica says, I like the VBR metrics page and I like when the deadlines are posted. Okay, so I presume then, Erica, what that means is you like the way those two features as they currently stand. You don't necessarily have any changes that you'd want to make to either of those. This is in the chat, by the way, that Erica put that.
Yeah, I guess I'll just unmute myself. I do like how it's viewable and you can see it in different colors. I think previously with cohort 1, I forget which page it was, but there were the actual deadlines for things that was really helpful. So the actual date. I don't see it currently on the VBR page, so I'm not sure if that kind of closed with cohort 1.
Right. We are actually working on a new what you might be talking about is when you first log into the portal, on the bottom half of the main page, there was a list of tasks that had deadlines. If that's what you're talking about.
Yes.
Yep, we are working on a whole new version of that.
Cool.
So that's even going to break down things into more detail. So for example, instead of lumping things together, like for example, submitting X number of case summaries, we would actually break it out into case summary 1, case summary 2, case summary 3, however many there are going to be, so that you can more easily determine where you stand when it comes to a task versus lumping a bunch of stuff together.
Great, thank you. Yeah, I think that's really helpful from a PO standpoint in staying organized and seeing the actual dates there.
So then Julie added to that and says it would be helpful to have download capability of the VBR metrics versus requesting an emailed tabular version. Yep, we're working on that as well. So thank you for that, Julie. I appreciate that. And I presume what you mean by that, Julie, is just a button where it just downloads like an Excel file or something like that, correct? Without having to go through the email process. Yeah, okay, great, gotcha. Okay.
Mick, would it be possible to spy on my users and see when they are logging into the dashboard? I realize that the website doesn't require a login, and they obviously don't have access to the administrator.
Did Gina freeze or is it me? I'm not sure what happened there.
Portal, but my clinical champions do have access to the in once in the last 6 months, but I don't really know how often they're using. I'll type it in.
Gina, you cut out for a minute there, so I'm gonna try to summarize what you asked just to make sure that we heard it right when it caught back up. So you're asking if you can see when your clinicians have logged into the patient data dashboards that you've given access to somewhere on the administrative portal.
Okay, so you're talking about
Yeah.
the patient data dashboard, not the administrative portal.
Patient data dashboard logins, but I want to be able to view it on the administration portal.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
And
Yeah, let us, go ahead. Mhm.
Mick, we do have the reports coming from MDC about logins on everybody, so we can talk offline about how we could integrate that into the admin dashboard.
Okay.
But yep, that seems like it's something that we could definitely add onto there. Mhm. Mhm.
Anyone else? We're doing such a bang up job that no one has any anything they'd like to change. Sorry, that's my self-deprecating humor coming through. Yes, along those lines, can we see which events our clinical champions have attended? Yes, so thank you, Gina. I appreciate that. Yes, that gets back, Erica, to the more expansive tasks system that we're implementing, so that it'll actually break out each one of those events that people have attended to show whether or not it's complete or incomplete. So did they attend the regional meeting? Did they attend the collaborative wide meeting? Did they attend this? Did they attend that? So yeah, we are breaking everything out line by line so that you can more easily go in and see every little detail that you want to see, but also make it so that you can zip all that stuff up in a nice, neat easy to understand, almost pivot table like interface. So
And Erica, to clarify, are you also like even beyond just regional meeting attendance and collaborative meeting attendance or anything like that? Are you wanting to see like of the learning community events, like for example, like the guidelines update that we had last week? Like, are you wanting to see the specific like learning community event that they attended or webinar that they've joined?
Yeah, I guess I was just curious if that was a possibility as well to see, yeah, what of the events that have been posted have our learners attended.
And I know you did that today, Mick, as like a one-off request. Do you think that's something that's feasible to build in across the board for everyone to be able or to see like for every PO? Mhm.
are you talking about for Brandy?
Yep. Mhm.
Yeah, yep.
Okay, we could do that, and we could also like for things like doing the review of tools that they can earn learning community VBR for and things like that, like show specifically what tools they reviewed, or if it's a non-clinical champion who watched from the CME training recordings, like we could include with what training it was, so you can see it a lot more granular.
Yeah, that was super helpful and I appreciate that.
Okay, perfect. Mhm. So yeah, we can incorporate that more globally. Mhm.
So then I'm going to throw out some ideas that Jackie and I, and you'll soon start to hear the name of Ryan Karpus, who is our web developer, who will be the primary architect of 2.0 of this. So Ryan and Jackie and I met and came up with some ideas we thought you might like. I'm going to throw these out there and you can all respond in the chat with, oh, and Jackie, it looks like put it in the slide here.
Mhm.
Would it be useful, for example, to give logins to more people? For example, physicians. Or do you want to keep the system how it currently is so that you manage things centrally? Right, centrally, okay. And this is great feedback because we certainly don't want to put the time and the effort into anything that you don't want. Which gets back to the customer discovery sort of magic wand aspect, which is what do you want? So this is great. I love these answers. The next question is reminders. How often do you want to receive reminder notifications about the tasks that your people need to complete? Do you want to be able to customize that? How often you receive them and who they go to? And then finally, you know, is there any interest in receiving reminders via text? And I know that's a lot, so I'm sorry, go ahead, Jackie.
I just wanted to add some clarifications for like the reminder notifications, for example. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mick, but my understanding is it wouldn't be like a generic reminder, like trainings are due 12/31, trainings are due 12/31, trainings are due 12/31. So you're getting the same thing every time. It would be trainings are due 12/31. These are the 10 physicians who haven't done it. These are the 7 physicians who still haven't done it. These are the 6 physicians who still haven't done it. Like it would be relevant and updated with each one to like the people who just have it outstanding. Is that correct, Mick?
That is correct. So just for everyone's sort of set the stage when it comes to the new tasks system and reminders specifically, when we listed out, when Jackie and I sat down and listed out all of the tasks that all of you and your people need to do, it was 4,244 tasks. And then when we added in our own sprinkling of reminders, there was like 12,000 reminders. Now that's across all 28 POs, all 300 practices, all 700, you know, providers. So don't be too overwhelmed by it. But to Jackie's point, those are all specific reminders. They are not blanket reminders. So for example, Brandy, it would say so-and-so has this due on this date, and here's the link for them to be able to go and do it. So that's what we're talking about when it comes to reminders is someone hasn't completed something. Here's the due date. Here's where they go to do it. And who in here and who needs to do it, if I hadn't already said that. So then Gina responded back and said, let's see, Chelsea said, let's just go through these. Justin said custom reminders would be nice. The frequency will depend on the month. Susie said, appreciate the specific reminders and then the weekly updates we got in September. Chelsea, that's so helpful. So it's not a blanket reminder, but targeted, correct. Gina says reminders at 1 month, 2 weeks, 2 days, only need the summary, right? Justin's saying, can anyone else not hear them or is it just me? Jackie, can you hear me?
I can
It's
hear
just
you.
him.
Okay. Okay, good.
I was just sorry,
Clearly a bunch
Justin.
of us can hear you because we're responding in the chat.
I see. I wonder if it was a Zoom issue, maybe. No to text. Okay.
I do think, Mick, what we have set up is close to the 1 month, 2 weeks, 2 days, but we can, the ones that we automatically set up so far, but we can go back and have it adhere to that exactly and just do 3 reminders if that's what everyone would like.
Yeah, we can certainly take all this feedback into consideration.
Yep.
I do see Gina's comment that says, wouldn't be offended if the clinical champions were included. They currently will be. That's our design.
Yeah, we have it set up so that you're receiving like the summary ones that will say, and at like a different cadence. So we give you an opportunity to follow up and do reach out with them before they get another reminder from us. So the way we sort of have it set up now is maybe at like 1.5 months, let's say, you receive a reminder that says these are the 15 physicians who still haven't done it. And then in that time, maybe you email them and say, hey, just so you know, you haven't done this yet, please do it. And then 2 weeks later, perhaps like the ones from us go to them specifically. It's a different text to that where it's not going to list every single physician like we do in the summary one to you, but it will say like, hey, Dr. Smith, you have this still pending, etc. So we kind of have a setup at both levels right now.
And then just a couple more questions, and we can, again, I want to be clear too that this will not be the only opportunity for any of you to give feedback on the current system or the new system. We will make sure that you have multiple opportunities. Of course, you can always email the CC team at mct2d.org email with any questions or thoughts or ideas. You can reach out to Jackie. So this is not your only opportunity. If something comes to you tomorrow, 2 weeks from now, 2 months from now, we're happy to entertain any ideas at all. So with that, let's see, we'll have the same reminder. Will we have the same reminder that is sent to the clinical champion at the same time so we're aware when asked?
So kind of like a copying them on that, Mick, it sounds like.
Right.
Mhm. We can do
So we could certainly do that, sure.
Mhm.
And I'm thinking too that we might want to, Jackie, start thinking about some way that people can customize maybe what, because Susan may want to receive that, but Chelsea may not.
Okay. Yeah.
So we might want to start thinking about some way in which we could,
Like if you
let
can have
people-
a checked button to say copy me on all messages. Okay.
yeah, in the portal to say, I like to, but I don't want to. Right.
Mhm. Okay.
Just a couple more questions here. Mobile device access. Do any of you or do any of the people that you support need to be able to access this system using a mobile device? Or are people mainly using laptops and desktops? Yes, Gina. I agree. It would be, how would you even do this on a mobile device? I don't even know, but we wanted to ask. Right. Yep. And then finally, is there anything that you, other than what we've already discussed about making the task system easier and making the VBR metrics interface even better than it already is there anything else in the system that you want to be able to access more easily? Is there anything that maybe takes too many clicks or isn't currently available? Like, for example, the logins to the patient data dashboard. Oh, Gina says smartphone app for the physicians. Okay. That's true. I guess when physicians are the ones who have to fill out, say, like a feedback form or something like that, they're always roaming around, not with a laptop in their hand. They have a phone. I guess that makes sense. So going back to, oh, Melissa, are you, let's see, they must have 50 pages of apps. Melissa, are you saying that you like Gina's idea of a smartphone app for the physicians? Okay, gotcha.
Interesting.
Okay. And then it doesn't sound like anyone needs more easy access to anything. But again, this is not your only opportunity to comment. We love all of this feedback. This is all being captured in the recording and in the chat log. So we will take all of this, and Jackie and Ryan and I will work together not only on the current version. Okay, voice. Let's see, changes is not met. Right. Yes, we are. Well, there are some things, Susan, that are tied to a clinical champion, and there are some things that are not tied to a clinical champion. So for example, trainings are tied to a clinical champion. So when a clinical champion changes, we are, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jackie, we would require the new clinical champion to attend any trainings.
Yes, that is correct. So to that point, Susan, we are working on like getting it set up more specifically to accommodate like every specific scenario. So like, for example, when the clinical champion changes, we don't want like the regional meeting attendance to switch to not met, because obviously the new person cannot go back in time and attend a meeting that already happened. But we, like Mick was saying, we will have certain things such as like the trainings that will, we would want like a new clinical champion to complete. So we're setting it up now so that it is accurately reflecting like whether it does need to be done again or not. And really the trainings are the only things for new sites that we would ask it to be repeated, but yep. Mhm.
And then I see, Gina, your comment about voice dictation. And then Justin, I see your idea about to post the monthly PO session PDFs in the admin portal. And if I may paraphrase, in addition to the website. So that's interesting. Kind of, again, Jackie, to the idea of having a one-stop shop for the
Mhm.
be able to go and kind of look at everything.
Yep, that sounds good. We can definitely do that.
Okay. Again, so I'm going to stop for now to make sure that Jackie and Jake have the time that they need to walk through everything else. But again, if anyone else has any ideas, you can use any path that you want to send us a message. It's the CC team email address. There's Jackie, there's myself. We'll take your ideas through any vector, and we will get to work on your ideas.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone, for your input. It was incredibly helpful. We do want to make this as useful for you as possible. And this was great feedback. And thank you very much, Mike, for leading that discussion. All right. Moving on to just our general updates that I wanted to cover with everyone today. So starting with the cohort 2 region review, any of the POs who have enrolled sites in 2022, or what we're calling cohort 2, which is 19 to 28 of our participating POs, you can request changes now until next Wednesday, so a week from now, to the proposed regions that we've sorted your practices into. So some of them, of course, will fit really obviously into the region that they're assigned, where like these ones that are right near Traverse City will be in that one. But you know, some of them are a little bit more borderline, where it might make more sense for them to be a part of the Traverse City region versus the Bay City region. So we want to give you the opportunity to review those and request different regions for your practice, since you understand best like both the relationships, what they would prefer. So you'll have another week to do that. And after that, we'll begin planning like the size and location of like the regional meetings with these additional attendees. So let us know if you have any question. That's on the administrative portal where it says practice region review on the left-hand side. And that page will tell you everything that you need to do to give your input on the regions. Also want to remind everyone that specialist recruitment is open for a little bit more, for another a month almost. So until December 16th, if you have any specialist practice that you want to have join MCT2D, you can enroll them. We'll do enrollment the exact same way we did for PCP practices. So again, on the administrative portal, there's a tab that says practice recruitment. All of your endocrinology and nephrology practices that are not currently participating will be listed. So we don't really have the same eligibility criteria that we had for PCPs. Any endo or nephro practice can join, and they'll be listed there if they're not already participating. And you really just click mark as participating if you'd like to change their status. We met with the leads for these programs for year 2 to discuss the VBR. It will basically be the exact same as what the year 1 requirements were for the current specialist. Minus we'll change some of the training content most likely, like moving a little bit away from the low carb for endocrinologists and focusing more on the medications and CGM. But the time and number of trainings will be the same. It'll be an hour each for both the endocrinologist and nephrologist still. And then the other requirements were attending one of the regional meetings, and then submitting like one case summary. So Brandy asked if there's a way to get the whole 2023 year regional meeting schedule, so spring and fall. We're going to try to schedule the spring ones pretty much as soon as possible once we wrap up the region review, so we know the anticipated attendance at each one. So ideally by the end of November. We'll also try, I suppose, to schedule the fall ones too. We hadn't thought about it, and usually schedule them shortly after the spring ones, but maybe any that we wanted to review the venues and make sure that we're happy with them and like them and see what else is out there. So it's we'll try to schedule them as soon as possible in short. And any that we feel very, very confident that we really like that venue and want to keep coming back to it, we'll schedule the spring and fall ones. For any new venues we do in the spring, we might not schedule a fall one until we're sure we like it and that it works. So to the best of our ability, we'll schedule as many of them as we can for 2023, but there might be some cases where we can't. And as soon as we have that information, we'll let you know. No, they don't need to redo the training. If they were a clinical sorry, I'll repeat the question so everyone knows what I'm responding to. I was looking at the questions in the chat. There's a question, if I have a clinical champion that was part of a cohort 1 practice, who will also be the clinical champion for cohort 2 practice, do they need to repeat the training? And Eric had the same question. So they will not need to complete the training. We're working on getting that set up so that it's reflected for those practices in there, but just rest assured that they're not going to be asked to watch the same thing that they've already done again. We just need to set up the programming so that it reflects it and that it tracks with the clinical champion. So kind of going back to what we were talking about before of identifying which things need to be tracked with that, which are tracked with the practice. So we will get that changed. Okay, awesome. Thanks, everyone. So yes, specialist recruitment due by December 16th, and then their VBR year will begin 3/1/2023. So just along that standard specialist recruitment cycle. I just want to touch basically on the payment so you know what to expect there. So the annual PO payment for participating in MCT2D of $75,000 was distributed as part of the October PGIP payment cycle. I think that hits like accounts at the very, very end of October. So like the 30th or 31st. And then the next payments from MCT2D will be in April. It will include like the practice recruitment bonus of $2,500 per recruited practice. So that'll be both the cohort 2 PCP practices and any specialist practices you bring on, that you'll get $2,500 for each of those. And in April, that will also be when we pay out the $10 per BCBSM, BCBSM MA, BCN, and BCNA patients at participating practices for both cohorts. So that'll be the next time that you're receiving those payments. Also wanted to remind everyone, so on Monday, we distributed a very, very brief survey to the administrative leads and clinical champions at the POs. And we're asking that you, Blue Cross asks that all CQIs do this every year. It is legitimately just 4 questions. It's de-identified, and it's just asking you if you find value in the CQI, if our coordinating center is a valued partner, that you could, how much you agree with the statement that you could or couldn't participate without financial support from BCBSM, and BCBSM has been a reliable partner. We've gotten 4 responses so far. We would really, really like to have you respond. We have to report these results back to Blue Cross Blue Shield, and so we'd really appreciate your input on these. And I'll send out a reminder on Friday too. Okay, all right, it seems like a few people didn't receive it. I will try to figure out what happened there. That's interesting. Some people received it because we have responses, so I wonder where the breakdown in this was. Okay, well, this is good to know. I will resend this out and make sure that you all get it, and I'll maybe verify with a couple of you who said you hadn't to make sure that you do. So thank you for letting me know. All right, interesting. Okay, well, I'm glad we added this to the agenda. The question if it's for cohort 2 as well. Yeah, I know it'll be a little harder to have like strong opinions on these things since you're newer to the CQI, but yeah, if you could fill it out, that would be great. Well, thank you. I will resend that after this so that everyone has an opportunity to do it, and we'll try to figure out what happened there. An update just generally on year 3 recruitment for MCT2D. So Blue Cross hosts these PO work groups where they ask, I think, representative members from certain POs about certain things going on with like the population health CQI programs. And the feedback from those meetings was that it would be helpful for recruitment for the population health CQIs to take place earlier in the year, as opposed to the more summer timeline that we've had in the past. So in response to that feedback, we're happy to recruit earlier on. And so we'll likely have recruitment for your PCP practices begin in like February or March, and then end at the beginning of June or around there, so that you're not trying to do that work in the summer and get them all onboarded. So just wanted to make everyone aware of that. And we can host informational sessions for practices that might want to join and do other things to make sure that you have the education and materials and background to kind of answer any questions that they have. So just wanted to let everyone know to expect that a bit earlier versus the May to July timeline that we've had in the past. And also, so we had the final and regional meetings last week through the 2nd, and we're going to be uploading the attendance for those by the end of the week at the latest. So you'll be able to see who attended. For those that missed it, we'll be reaching out to you as the POs and to the clinical champions. I understand that things come up and there may, be very legitimate reasons that someone wasn't able to attend. So we are going to allow them to watch a recording of the meeting and answer questions, verifying their viewing of the recording with these questions. They won't be able to earn CME from the meeting, unfortunately, since it's a recorded version. And so, as you all know, these are held twice a year in the spring and fall, but we are going to implement like kind of a 3-strike rule on these. So the third time that a practice fails to either send a clinical champion or a delegate to it, they would lose their VBR for the collaborative. So that'll be from this one going forward. So if your clinical champion missed this one, they can't miss 2 more, in short. Okay. All right. Great. And then just a few other quick reminders. To Justin's question, it was the 3-strike rule applies per clinic, or will the PO be clicked out? It'll be per clinic. So it would just be that specific practice. Other updates. So one of the VBR requirements for the cohort 1 practices is a progress report survey, just because we asked the program or the sites to begin focusing on the implementation of these initiatives beginning January 1st, 2022. So we're kind of coming up on 1 year of that. So we want to just get kind of the subjective feedback from them on how that's gone, what they've learned, what they've been able to change. We're going to distribute this on December 15th or earlier. We might have it ready earlier, so we can give people more time to complete it, and then we'll ask for it to be due back to us by February 1st. And we're asking for 1 of these per practice. We have it drafted for the most part. I have a few edits to make, and the way it stands is it'll take about 15 minutes to complete this. And so we're just really wanting to look at how they've been able to operationalize this work with their use of like the tools and resources. Do they actually use them actively in practice? Is it just the provider tools? Is it the patient tools, et cetera? And their ideas for like future focuses of MCT2D. So that's what we'll be capturing there. We should have like a draft of it ready to share with you soon, and then we'll distribute that as soon as it's ready. Just wanted to remind everyone that that'll be coming down the pipeline. And then another reminder is for cohort 2, the training modules all due by 12/31/2022. Any that had training modules not completed today were sent an email with those specific ones that they need to take and a link to register for it. And the practice change readiness assessments for cohort 2 are in the process of being analyzed, and we'll share some feedback with you from those on the December PO call, so you can see the summaries for those. And we also, the CGMs for those new clinical champions are ordered and will be delivered to them by the end of the month as well. So just wanted to preview next month's PO call for you, since we had a few agenda topics that we know we'll have ready for that. We'll do a regional meeting recap, so going over the meeting evaluation results and plans for future meetings that are kind of driven from those. So what we've learned, what the practices have said that they've wanted, and how we're going to incorporate that. And we'll also be looking at like an executive summary of the quality improvement logs that you as the POs submitted in May, to kind of share some trends and some information that's more generalizable to the collaborative with all of you, so that you can see kind of where your peers are and what other POs are doing and what's worked well for them. So those will be in December. They're going to be Monday the 12th or Wednesday the 14th. The invite should be on your calendar for those already. And yeah, that's all we had for you today. Does anyone have any questions or anything they would like to discuss before we wrap up? Mhm. Okay, well, thanks so much, everyone. I will resend out the Blue Cross 4-question survey. I'm sorry that it didn't get to everyone for some reason. We'll look into that and get to the bottom of why that happened too. And we'll get these slides and recordings posted soon. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Chelsea. That's so nice. Have a great afternoon.